Greetings, fellow Vikings, Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering Northgard. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the details about this series, please use YouTube chapters. Northgard is a real-time strategy game based on Norse mythology, where you lead your forces to victory through colonizing new islands and conquering enemies. Manage threats and dangers like harsh winters, natural disasters, and monsters like draugrs, wolves, bears, fallen Valkyrie, and more. For this specific series, I'll be playing Rig's Saga, which is the story mode, one of the story modes, on hard difficulty, and then some of the solo conquest on normal difficulty, just to showcase the game. There's a lot of different game modes. There's also like ranked multiplayer and co-op campaigns and all this stuff. But I've never played it multiplayer, so I really can't answer any questions about multiplayer. In preparation for the stream, I reset all of my progress, so I have played before. I'm not an expert by any means, but if it looks like I've never played, it's because it got wiped on purpose. So this is Rig's Saga. Follow the original adventure of Northgard's 6 founding clans. Learn to master them while discovering Rig's epic saga and its unique characters, events, and challenges.
I am Rig, son of the High King Hargurorf, and this is my saga. It all began one fateful day. My father had gathered all his jarls to make an announcement of the utmost importance. We were to embark for the wondrous lands of Northgard. Riches, conquest, and glory awaited us on this mysterious new continent. But the Norns had other plans for us. Dozens of armed men suddenly poured into the hall and put an abrupt end to our ambitions and to our lives. They were mercenaries, led by a man named Hagen from the clan of the Raven. In a matter of minutes, we were all slaughtered like sheep. All but me, barely conscious and vastly outnumbered. I had no way to fight back, so I feigned death. I seethed as he stole the map of Northgard and ripped the regal horn from my father's throne, a family heirloom and the very symbol of our royalty. I had to avenge my father and reclaim my kinghood.
Okay, so Chapter 1, Exodus. We have safely escaped to a remote region. We must now reach the shores of Northgard. I'll be playing as Brand, sort of, you'll see. And we have bonus objectives of acquiring a lot of food, exploring all the damaged houses, and building the longship dock before year 3. I'm going to be playing on hard difficulty.
I had no strength left when I encountered a group of runaways of the Stag clan, led by a proud young man named Bran. Hagen's men had set his town aflame, and he had nothing left, not even his father, the clan's jarl, who had died at the hands of the fiend, just like mine. Our common enemy had sailed for Northgard, of which he now had a map. All I could think about was finding him to avenge my father and retrieve the regal horn.
Glad to see you back on your feet, my lord. I'm surprised at how fast you recovered. I suppose rage is an excellent healer. Still, we've wasted enough time already. We must go after Hagen as soon as possible. Indeed, time is of the essence. Our camp is far away from the enemy, but we are marooned in an unknown province on the outskirts of your kingdom. I shall prove myself worthy of their trust. However impatient I am to get even with that scum. My priority is to ensure their survival. Very good. Your restraint does you honor. Besides, none of us will be getting any revenge if we starve to death first. Speaking of which, there is no shortage of mouths to feed, so let us seek out food. Wood is also a vital resource, being used for both heating and construction. We must also leave the continent and set sail for Northgard. We shall need a proper shore to go out to sea. You are quite right. I suggest you instruct villagers to build a scout camp and assign them as scouts, so they may explore the region. You are in a safe, remote area. Your goal here is to meet the basic survival needs of your clan: food, wood, houses. Be sure to assign scouts so they can explore the region. Find a shore to embark for undiscovered lands. First thing I'm going to build is the scout camp. And I'm also going to enable... Oh, let me see if I can't make the game even quieter a little bit. I'm going to hit I to enable the region information and go over a little bit of the UI here before I really get digging into it. So on the top left, we've got fame and who we are, which is Braun. Our starting resources, any modifiers like the fact that instead of a brewery, we have the House of Skalds, and we gain 50% more fame and happiness from our territory. Bottom left, we have the minimap, and in the minimap, you can filter things if you'd like for strategic resources. Generally, I leave them all on, and you can also hit T to enable like the military overlay, and this is also where the information overlay is and where the pause game is, or P. On the top, we have the happiness, which you want to keep above 0, ideally. Food and wood and crowns, which is currency. Pop and pop cap, and military cap. Down here, we have everyone that belongs to our kingdom. So we have Braun, and then we have 4 villagers. 1 is constructing this, and 3 are just scavenging for food. And that's probably... And then, of course, the objectives in the top right. All right, I'm taking 2 of our villagers and sticking them as scouts. And we have 1 villager scout here because it looks very wooded and would be good for woodcutting. And 1 scout here. The map in Northgard is divided into provinces or regions, or whatever we're going to call them. And you have to claim new land to expand. So it's like a bit of a 4X, as it is also a real-time strategy game. In my primary capital, my town hall district, I now have 2 buildings out of the potential 4. This can be increased with gold, albeit a lot of gold, for 5 buildings. But controlling the amount of buildings that you have and where they're placed is a part of the strategy of the game. Aggro, thank you for the resub. And Manic Dark, welcome, welcome. And Steph as well. Alright, I'm going to pause for a moment. So this new district is indeed woods. And if we click on the forest here, it improves the wood production in the zone by 10%. So instead of building a woodcutter in my starting district, building it up here would be better, would be more efficient. So I'm going to do just that. In order to do that, I have to click on the zone and hit colonize. Colonizing the zone will add it to our territory. The caveat, of course, is every time you colonize an additional territory, the cost for adding more territory increases. So you have to pick wisely, because territories that are like virtually worthless to you, if you colonize it, will drive up the price of future colonizations. And then this other zone over here is fertile, so it can support wheat fields. Wheat fields are a great way to produce food when it's not winter. So stockpiling up for the winter would be wise. And I want to claim both these zones. So colonize and colonize. And he uses food to colonize. Now, there is some modifiers in the game that you can use, like fame or lore, to colonize territories, but generally speaking, you colonize with food. Now that we've claimed this forest here, the next thing I'm going to want to do is to build a woodcutter lodge. And I'm just going to put it like right here on the border, because it'll be easier to protect. Now, the villagers from my, I'm going to call it the capital district, are not going to automatically start building in another area. So what I'm going to need to do is either click this, the villager icon, to cycle through them and assign someone to come to this area, because essentially your villagers will only work in the district that they live in, so you have to force them to change a district. And I'm also, for the sake of like tutorial, I'm going to be pausing the game pretty regularly just to explain things. So here we go. This villager is being sent out to the woodcutter, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to build a wheat field there, and then send a different villager out to go build the wheat farm. While my scouts scout further into the forest. Now this villager I'm going to assign to be a woodcutter, as will this one. So now, if I pause it, you can see that wood 2 out of 2. That means that this woodcutting lodge has 2 people hired for it. And I'm using 1 of the 3 building slots in this zone. The same rules applies. I can expand it for a 4th slot. It's expensive. Now, I am at my population cap. So one thing that I might want to do is to build a house. Because up here, as you can see, my population has capped at 6 of 6. And if I want to expand my clan, which of course I do, I need more population, because if I mouse, let me hide the overlay for a moment. If I mouse over here, as you can see, we cannot lodge additional villagers. I have nowhere to store them. So normally down here, you have your like villager timer of how long it will take for a new villager to show up. And in this case, they can't, because there's nowhere for them to live. Alright, I am going to take this scout here, who just found a derelict cottage, and Rig thinks we should salvage it, but I'm going to take this scout and tell them to work in the wheat farm so that I can rectify my lack of food. The other thing I'm going to build is a food silo next to the wheat farm. A food silo is a building that allows you to increase the amount of food produced in the zone, as you can see. So improves food produced by the workers in the zone by 10% and increases your maximum food storage. Not that that's very important. Later on down the line, you can also suffer from like plagues from rats and the like. And if you get vermin to eat your food, you can also protect it with food silos. So now we have that extra house. We can house up to 11 people. And we're going to want to produce enough food for me to annex this zone, because this zone is one of the bonus objectives of searching the damaged houses. And I would like to do them if I can. They're bonuses, so I don't have to, but it would be nice to do. So the food silo's done. And this villager is going to go back to the main zone. Now, we do have wolves up here. And the wolves are protecting deer that I could hunt for food income as well. And then there's another cabin up there. So let's go ahead and start to train warriors so I can take on the wolves. More than likely, my starting hero, Bron, he could probably take them out by himself, but let's add like one more warrior to help him out, so he's not soloing it. There's no need to necessarily solo it, in my opinion. So I could grab this territory now. So in order to have a scout search the zone, I need to colonize it first. So let's use some of the food that we have to colonize this zone for the sake of the house scouting. And I'm gonna have that villager become a warrior. And I'll send my hero and the warrior out to go clear wolves, so I can claim this zone. The reason why I want to claim it is I cannot claim a zone that is defended. So if there's hostiles on the zone, they need to be cleared first. Some zones are like hostile spawners, where they will regularly spawn enemies and attack you if they're adjacent to your holdings. That is not the case in this instance. So there's only 3 wolves, and once they're dead, they won't come back. And here we go. Here's the simple fight. Bran does 15 attack power, the other one does 11. And they won pretty handily. This is a... Oops. I'll pause for a second. This is a monster spawn. So this is a wolf's den here, which will keep spawning more wolves until I claim it. So they're going to be harassing me. And in this case, they've already sent a wolf out to mess with me. I'm also sending my scout over here to search this building. Alright. Another thing I'd like to do is to get a healer's hut. A healer's hut is going to allow me to heal when I'm within my own territory. And I will put the healer's hut right here. And I'm going to send this villager out to go build it. And that will allow Bran to start recovering HP. And then once he's healed a little bit more, I can start clearing out some of the threats over here as well. The next zone I want is this one. I'm going to claim it now. And I'm going to set up hunting camps there with also a food silo. So I'm going to put a hunter's lodge right there. And send this villager out to go build that. And then this villager that built the healer's hut, I'll have become a healer. So the way the healers work is a little counterintuitive, so I'll explain in a moment. Unlike a lot of RTS games, your healer does not follow your army around. I mean, you can have them do that, but they will not heal that way. The way they work is if they are in the zone where their healer's hut is built, they will heal anyone at range who is inside of your territory holdings. Which means putting the healer right there is fine. As you can see, Bran is healing now. Now, if Bran was to step outside of my territory holdings to go, like, let's say right here, just outside of my range, my region, healing would stop. Likewise, if this healer left the zone, healing also stops. Bran is no longer healing. So when you have healers, you don't need to have them follow your troops around. In fact, you really don't want that. You want them stationed in their home zone. Which is a little different than most of the RTSs I've played. And I just figured it was worth pointing that out. Okay, so we have a Hunter's Lodge up here. And I'm going to assign them to the Hunter's Lodge to start hunting. And then I'm going to assign this one up to the Hunter's Lodge as well. There's one other thing I wanted up there, which was the food silo. To boost food production. And I'll send him up to build the food silo. And then once the food silo is built, I'll build another house. The scout that we have has cleared this damaged house. It's already been searched. And there's another house over here. And in order to get this one, I need to colonize the zone for 160 food. The reason why I'm investing very heavily in my food production is in order to colonize new zones, I need food. And there's only 2 zones I can get food from, here and here. Now, technically speaking, a villager that is not employed and a healer that has no one to have to heal will gather food, just not efficiently. So that if we mouse over the healer here, you'll see villagers that become healers will heal your wounded or sick members in your territory. They also gather food when they're not healing. So when everyone's nice and healthy, healers can gather food. So if I click, here he is gathering food off the ground because no one's hurt. Speaking of hurt, let's start clearing out these wolves. The air is getting colder. Winter is almost upon us. Indeed, my lord, we should expect food to be scarcer. Our people will consume more firewood to heat their homes. Our military troops will also be weakened by the cold. It might not be the best time to fight. Alright, I have cleared the wolves. And here's another house so we can keep expanding our population. Done. And then I'll have him become another healer. Actually, no, become a warrior. Another axe. I'll have her become a healer. So now we have 2 healers, and you can see that right here. And we have 2 warriors and then our hero. So I have just enough food to annex this new territory here. The reason I'm not going to do it is we're about to head into the winter. And there we go. In the winter, you have a much reduced food production, especially from this farm. The farm is not very good in the winter. So if I had annexed the zone, we would have a bit of starvation happening, and I wanted to avoid that. So we need to reach the shore to the north, and we can kind of see the ocean over here, so it's going to be up that way-ish. And we have room for 4 more people. Alright, now that my healers are no longer having to heal my combat troops, our food production is actually in the positive because the healers are now gathering. They're gathering 5.2 food. So now I'm in the food positive, which is good. That means because I'm food positive, I can actually claim this house. And then once my scout is done scouting this region, I'll have the scout double back and search the house for goods. Ingiltor, I guess is her name. One of the other things I need to keep an eye on is my crowns. I have 189, which is a lot, but it is decreasing. In order to add money, we would need to build things we don't have access to, because this is pretty early in the tutorial. So never mind, we're just going to have to keep looting gold. But there we go, my lord. One scout claims to have found a suitable coast for the construction of a port. Excellent, we should colonize the area leading up to the shore so that our builders can reach it and get to work. So we need to build a long ship dock there in order to chase Hagen, who had murdered our Rig's father in cold blood, and also Bran's father in cold blood, presumably. We are under attack. This is a result of the monster spawner. Your NPCs, like the non-combat ones, can still fight. So hunters will still shoot at animals, hostiles. Woodcutters have axes, and they are decently able to defend themselves. So like this hunter got really messed up, but I managed to pull them away from the wolves at the last minute. So we know that one of the next things we're going to need to do is to add this zone, because it's a bit of a bottleneck, to our territory. Oops, wow, I did a really poor job there. Add this to our territory, so I'm going to save up the food to annex that zone. Now, when you lose your warriors, you can always just, like, re-recruit them. Of course, it costs gold, so it's ideal not to lose them in the first place. So I just converted 2 of my villagers back into warriors, and I'm going to have them mustered in the north. Do you have to take the zone to get rid of the wolf den? Yes. Once it's claimed, not only will it get destroyed, but I will gain fame for doing it. So it is in my best interest, once I have the food, to take that down. There we go. Scout has discovered wood and gold. And I think most of the surveyable zoning... Oh, you got hurt. Most of what we can survey has been surveyed at this point. So we're just waiting on our food to tick up to 200, and then we'll claim the wolf den, and we'll be 1 spot away from our North Shore goal, where we could build a longship dock. Now, if you're wondering, you can't, like, relinquish control of an area, so I can't give up this zone to make it cheaper to claim this zone. If there was a hostile player on the map tile that took that zone from me, it would have that effect. But you can't, like, intentionally cause it. And here is the last house for me to search. Which means, and then my scouts went on idle, which meant all of the known zones had been scouted. So I no longer have need of scouts. And instead, we'll make our scouts... I'm not sure what I want them to do. Scalds. I'll build a Scald's hut. So I did mention wanting to be a completionist. I am going to try to get up to this zone and claim it. So that I can, you know, get all the bonus objectives done. It's just going to take a little bit longer because of the amount of food needed to acquire first. So the House of Scalds increases the clan's fame and happiness. So as you can see, it is very effective in increasing happiness. However, with that said, I'm only going to have 1 Scald. And the reason for it is because I want to be collecting more food. In fact, I'm going to get rid of all of my Scalds and put them as villagers so that they can gather more food more quickly. So the path to, there are no longer any hostiles on this map tile, and the path to this last house is cleared. So this Scald's house, this Hall of Scalds, does require gold upkeep. So it might be worth, if I'm not using it, destroying it. So I may have built it just to show you that game mechanic. So let's get rid of it to reduce our tax burden, so that we're not hemorrhaging coin faster than we really need to be. And now we're one zone away from the damaged house as well. So this will cost 330 food. Now another thing I could do is I could have my woodcutters become foragers as well, because I have a huge amount of stockpiled wood and I want more food. So I'll just have them all join in my home zone as like 8 villagers collecting and foraging. As you can see, it has added a considerable amount of added food to my income. It's not super efficient, mind you, compared to hunters. So like I have 2 hunters and 2 farmers that get about 6 food apiece, and then 8 villagers getting 4 food apiece. So it's far better to hire them out in actual designated food production roles. They'll be faster at it by far. Can you change the warriors back to food gatherers? You know, I could. So there's different types of military units. One of the reasons not to do this is it does cost gold to become a warrior. So I would not be refunded that gold. If I mouse over, as you can see, there's not like a refunding. So I'm going to have this villager become a scout and have the scout go search that last home, which is one of the other bonus objectives. And all we have left to do is to get this plane here for 430 food. Will develop region upgrade building be covered on later? It will be covered in later isles. Developing the region is pretty straightforward. All it does is increases the amount of buildings that you can have in that region. So in this case, from 4 to 5, or from 3 to 4. Upgrading buildings requires resources I don't have on this campaign, on this map. But it will be covered eventually. Now, I'm not increasing my pop cap because I don't need more people than 16. Not reasonably. So that's why I've left that alone. So once we have 430 food, we'll get that last zone added to our territory. Now, it is November in game. You have the winter timer right over here. Meaning, I'm pretty sure I'll still be food positive even in the winter, given all the gatherers I have. Okay, there we go. Now up there, I need to build a longship dock. You might be able to tell, the longship dock needs the physical dock, so you can't like place it inland, it won't work. Well, let's have a dock go way out in the water. I kind of like that aesthetic. So I'm in the food positive, even in the winter. I'm going to have one of my villagers go build the dock. And then this villager work the woodcutter. And then this scout can become... Actually, you know what? You become a woodcutter as well. Because this scout has nothing to do, and you're not that far away from the dock. So all the houses got searched. And now... all we need to do is build a longship dock up there. And we'll be done. You like the art style? Me too. It's the art direction, the music, the gameplay mechanics, the speed, the pacing. I think it's great all around. Once upon a time, I played a lot more RTSs than I have in like the last 5 years, but this is definitely one of the more solid RTSs in modern releases, I think. So normally a longship dock allows you to launch periodic raids for lore and fame and crowns, but in this case it's just the objective for this scenario. Jeddick, thank you for the resub. Get building. And there it is. At last, thanks to your efforts. Oh, I can't read that fast. Anchors away, proud Vikings. We sail for Northgard. Your end draws near, Hagen. Victory. Thank you for tuning in to Northgard, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Vikings.